inspects were introduced to Call of Duty with Modern Warfare Remastered in 2016, and they have become a staple of the series. Every new Call of Duty game is expected to have inspect animations for every single weapon, and the developers have come up with some crazy visuals for some of these. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. In today's video, we're going to check out what I think are the 10 best weapon inspects in Call of Duty history. And down in the comments, I want you to tell me your favorite on the list and tell me one of your favorites that I don't put on the list. Maybe we'll just have to do a second video in a few days with your suggestions. At number 10, the MP5 in Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, Modern Warfare Remastered was the first COD game to have weapon inspects like we said. Most of them, pretty simple, but Raven Software gave the MP5 a really cool animation for some reason. I'm not complaining because it's led to some hilarious clips. The MP5 inspect would have your character pull out the magazine, spin it on their finger before slapping it back in and getting back into it. Not only was this animation slick as heck, but it could also be instantly canceled by hitting the fire button, so you could actually get some pretty awesome clips of spinning the mag around, popping someone in the head immediately, and it was pretty funny. Didn't serve much functional purpose, but it was pretty awesome when it happened. It's a good way to start today's list. At number 9, the M1 Garand Independent in COD World War II. Now, Call of Duty World War II had weapon inspects for all the guns at launch, but then Sledgehammer also added these unique inspect animations for all the variants, which I thought was a nice way to reward people for grinding to unlock it. All the variants in COD World War II were purely cosmetic, but some had awesome paint jobs, unique models, and the independent variant for the M1 Garand was one of my favorites. Not only did it cover the gun in this sleek new paint job inspired by the American flag and gave you this solid gold barrel, and it gave you a solid gold magazine if you were running extended mags, but it also gave you this sweet weapon inspect animation where you held your gun up to your right shoulder and you did a hearty salute with your left. Totally on theme with the game, and the gun is one of my favorites in COD history. Short, sweet, simple, and pretty awesome. At number 8, the Sterling Fatal Elegance in COD World War II. Speaking of awesome variant inspects. The Sterling is one of my favorites despite it being a gun that I didn't use. In fact, I'm pretty sure I tapped out of COD World War II by the time this variant was added to the game, but I still recognize an awesome inspect when I see it. The Fatal Elegance variant was very shiny, very sleek, but when you hit the inspect button, your character would whip out a pretty awesome Gladiator reference, holding their thumb sideways, waiting a couple seconds before dropping the thumb down, at which point I guess you were supposed to go on a killing spree. I will say, it's a little odd for a game set in the 1940s to have a Gladiator reference in it, since that movie wasn't made for another 60 years and it was set during ancient Rome, but whatever. I'm willing to overlook all that for the sake of awesomeness. Sledgehammer has always had a lot of fun with their visual design, even if they end up contradicting the setting of the game itself, and frankly, I can live with that. The game was fun. It would have been really cool if they made it randomized, like the thumb would go up sometimes, go down. At number 7, the 44 Magnum in Modern Warfare Remastered. Adding DLC weapons to Modern Warfare Remastered remains one of the most controversial things Activision's ever done with a Call of Duty game, but I've always held that if they insist on adding DLC weapons to a COD remaster, they need to stick to legacy weapons, at least ones that fit the tone and the style of the base game. So that being said, I didn't mind the 44 mag being added to the game, especially since Raven gave it one of the coolest inspect animations ever. Hitting the inspect button would cause your character to spin the Magnum around on their pointer finger like a Hollywood cowboy, and just like the MP5 animation, you could cancel it at any time by pulling the trigger. So people would get some pretty insane clips by just spinning the Magnum around a bunch and then blast somebody in the face with it. Even if you were still upset about DLC weapons being added to Modern Warfare Remastered, you have to admit this was pretty sweet. At number 6, FG-42, the Kampfflugzeug. I don't even know how to say this thing. In COD World War II, the FG-42 had a very strange life cycle in Call of Duty World War II. Full auto light rifle started out as one of the best guns in the game. First couple of competitive events, it was the only rifle the pro players bothered to use. But after that, it was so dominant for the first few months, Sledgehammer nerfed it in the ground. Basically, you never saw it again. But I didn't forget about the FG-42, and I definitely didn't forget about this variant that I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name again. This variant not only gave you a shiny paint job, also gave you a fun weapon inspect animation where your soldier would use their right hand to walk off the side-fed magazine and jump into a little pretend explosion. It was a cute little animation that was honestly enough for me to run the gun even after it got nerfed into the dirt. Maybe not that much, but it was a cool one. Now we arrive at the top 5, and we're really going to get into some crazy ones. At number 5, the Peacekeeper MK2 artifact in COD Mobile. Now, COD Mobile has had some insane weapon inspects on the mythic weapons, and the Peacekeeper MK2 artifact is one of my favorites. Not only is the design of the gun awesome, but the inspect is detailed, especially for a game running on mobile devices. The whole gun splits apart into a bunch of little pieces, flies off the screen, leaving behind this weird-looking rock that I guess was the mythical battery controlling the whole thing. Then, after a few seconds, all the pieces fly back on the screen and the gun comes back together and you can start firing again. It was insane at the time. I'm still holding out hope that something like this comes to PC and consoles, because if everyone could have access to a Call of Duty game like this, it would kick the pants in the franchise, or it would kick the franchise in the pants. Yeah, it would get us up there, assuming Black Ops 6 doesn't do that job. At number 4, the backhander in Black Ops 4. Now, I honestly never thought we'd see the day where we were able to use a zombie arm as a melee weapon in a Call of Duty game, but Treyarch made it happen back in 2019 with this DLC weapon. The backhander is just that. A dismembered zombie arm that you smack people with, you smack them with it. You hit the inspect button, the zombie arm will spring back to life and try to strangle you, forcing you to fight it off before it succeeds. It was an awesome little addition to a fun melee weapon that I'm sure a ton of you forgot existed. Black Ops 4 had a lot of fun melee weapon designs that a lot of players completely missed out because they were added so late in the game's life cycle, and this game was, for whatever reason, not really something that a lot of the community stuck with, despite it now being remembered pretty fondly. I guess that's a COD cycle. I mean, mark my words, in a few years there's going to be a ton of people saying Modern Warfare 2 2022 is underrated, and we'll have a topic for another video. At number 3, the arcade rhythm in Modern Warfare 3 2023. Remember what I said earlier about Sledgehammer having fun with their designs? Well, the arcade rhythm has to be one of the best examples of that, and it's also a great example of Sledgehammer being able to laugh at themselves, which is another thing they've always been good at. I'm reminded of all the times I made fun of Gustav Cannon, despite them being the ones who designed it. The arcade rhythm in Modern Warfare 3 was a blueprint meant to be an old arcade throwback, but when you hit the inspect button, you would pull the gun up to your face and take a look at the little screen on the side of it, almost like a Game Boy. And you know what game you were playing on the Game Boy? Advanced Warfare. And you know what happens after you watch the screen for a few seconds? You get a pop-up that states update requires restart, and your character gets mad. The whole update requires restart thing has been a constant frustration for the Call of Duty community for 10 years at this point, but at least the developers are having a good laugh at their own expense. At number 2, the Fennec Ascended in COD Mobile. Now, the Fennec SMG first appeared as DLC for Modern Warfare 2019, but it was also brought into COD Mobile, where it was one of the coolest weapon inspects in the game on the Ascended variant. The whole weapon starts to shake before it flies out of your character's hand, starts circling them as you try to catch it and get it back in your possession. And if you're running the Fennec Ascended in akimbo form, you get an entirely different animation where they both fly away and you have to try to catch them both. Once you do, you'll flip them around like an action hero and get back into the fray. Awesome animation for an SMG that I've always had a soft spot for, but the number 1 pick shouldn't be shocking to you if you follow me on Twitter. You probably know what it is. If you don't, well, here it comes. And if you want us to do if there's enough to do a COD Mobile Mythic ranking list, we could do that in the future too. At number 1, the Mythic MG42 in COD Mobile. I tweeted out a video of this inspect animation a while back, and it is stuck in my head. This inspect animation actually leaked a while before it was officially added to the game. This has to be one of the most elaborate animations I've ever seen in a first-person shooter. The MG42 is a light machine gun that saw heavy usage during the Second World War, and the inspect animation of the Mythic MG42 in Call of Duty Mobile shows a massive World War II battle taking place on top of it on the gun, complete with tiny soldiers running around the battlefield and taking cover. The amount of detail is insane, and the fact that the game is running on mobile devices with this much detail is a miracle. Call of Duty gets a lot of heat for bugs in console and PC version, but this is crazy. This is by far the best COD weapon inspect ever, if you ask me. I'm sure I missed some, and like I said, we could do a whole ranking on mythicals if you wanted to. You guys let me know. I'll see you soon.